got boxes everywhere because I did a box opening thing the other day and I didn't move anything. It's still all here. Very messy. Oh, I've got wigs and things in here that I didn't realise I had. I was just looking at the other box of wigs in the other room and this is a very strange inner bit here. Anyway, that's not what things that I've forgotten about altogether. Oh, there's my Miley Cyrus wig and a hairpiece and when did wear all of these? When? And the pink one. Anyway, that's not what I was going to do. I got distracted. I got very much distracted. No, I was just thinking about imperial measurements. Because not something you want to think about really, but I was realising that I don't really know much about them. I was trying to work out things and then I realised I didn't really know how many pounds were in a... I knew that pounds in a stone is 14 because that's on like the weighing scales that you weigh yourself on, and that's sort of easy to remember really. But 1 stone is 14 pounds. But I didn't realise how much. It's because you don't use them. I didn't remember or realise. I must have learnt it sometime. Hello. I must have known how many ounces, how many ounces were in a pound. But I got very confused about it and had to look it up because I was like, you used to get like, because even though like I think metric's been in since like 1965, I saw somewhere. Yeah, I know, 1965 or something. I know 25 grams is less than an ounce. I knew that. But then I was like, how much is an ounce in the first place? And I looked it up. Happy Sunday. And an ounce has got lots of different definitions. For a troy ounce is 31 grams. An imperial ounce is like 28 point something grams. A Marie Theresa ounce, which is the Marie Theresa thaler, the sort of silver coins, is like 28.09 grams, and there's a Dutch one which is like £7.50 or something really big. Anyway, something confusing like 100 grams. Like 100 grams is a Dutch ounce or something. And I was like, well, how is this going to work if nobody can actually define what an ounce is? There's like, it's a lot of things, and that's not even taking into account fluid ounces, which is something else entirely. And I didn't, because I remember buying sweets, even though metric had come in, you could still buy sweets, a quarter of sweets, and then we didn't know what a quarter of sweets is. You just go quarter of sweets and you get a bag of sweets. It's like, how much is that? It's a quarter of what? I'm not sure how much it was, but it turns out it's a quarter of a pound, and I was like, how much is that? Because it's 113 grams, I found out. 113 grams is the equivalent to a quarter of sweets. So I was like, well, how much is a pound? And that's apparently 16 ounces. Hello! 16 ounces. So how confusing is this? 16 ounces is a pound. 14 pounds is a stone. And something like 148.97 stones in a ton. Something like that. 148 point something in a ton. A metric ton. Which is not to be confused with not a metric ton, an imperial ton, not to be confused with a metric ton. A metric ton, I think, has got an NE on the end of it, and an imperial ton has got no NE on the end of it. Or it could be the other way around. Either way, I'm not sure how this is going to work, because if anybody under, when 64, 65, anyone under 55, 56, something like that, is going to be like, I'm not entirely sure, because you can probably, you still, when you're weighing yourself on the weighing scales, they've still got, like, as well as kilos, they've got pounds, so that's fine. And when you're measuring yourself, the height, people could usually, you tend to do it in inches and feet, even if you don't usually use them other ways. I know I'm 167 centimetres, which sounds a bit better than not quite 5'6". Just a bit under 5'6". So it's like when people ask me how tall I am, I'm 167 centimetres because that's taller. It feels taller than 5'5", because I'm not 5'5". I'm 167 centimetres, which is nearly 5'6". I'm much taller in metric. I don't want to go to imperial because I have to go, I'm 5'5". I'm not 5'5". I'm 167 centimeters. I'm so close to 5'6". So close. Because, you know, I remember going, this is ages, the metric has been in a long time, but I went to the garden festival in Eber Vale one time, and they had a sort of heart healthy thing. Oh, got wig hair everywhere now. A heart healthy thing where they measured you and put, you know, and then they weighed you, and then they said, and I was just home from, I mean, I probably had put on a little bit of weight on that summer, but I was quite happy, really. But they measured me and they went, you're 5'5" and you're overweight. And I'm like, because I was like, I was over 10 stone. And they was like, no, it's like 10 stone 4 or something. It's like, no, but if I was a 5'6", I'm not overweight for 5'6", but I was overweight for 5'5". So it does make a difference. Imperial is no. Just, and also, 25 grams, like a kilo's 1,000. No, a kilo's. I don't know what I'm thinking anymore. I don't even know. 25, anyway, when it's divisible by 10, then it's much easier than when it's like 16 pounds, 14 pounds, 114 stone. It's too confusing. I don't want to deal with it. I metric. It's like when you spent your whole life doing metric. I mean, UK's very much a weirdness, because even though it's gone metric, you still see the miles as well as the kilometers and stuff. But you know, it's like never really pushed it the whole way. It's like, because there were so many old people that remembered back in the day, pounds, shillings and pence, that's decimalisation, so that's a completely different thing. Are we going to get back? See, no, I don't want to even think of that. Decimalisation, obviously, decimalisation's been in for long enough that people know, and it's easy. 10 pence to a pound. No, 10, that would be weird. 100 pence to a pound. See, I can't even remember now. It's like, oh no, if we're going to get rid of decimalisation, then I'm doomed, because my mum's like, and shillings and pence, and there's millions of shillings and pence. There's like, I know, and then apparently there were guineas, which is like more than a pound, and it's like, don't do that. Please don't. I don't understand why people are obsessed with going back to imperial measurements when imperial measurements are bizarre. And also this week, there's been a thing saying, we want more British TV with British input and British people and British. And the example they gave was Only Fools and Horses. Very sadly, somebody from Only Fools and Horses died today, the person that played Boise, John Chadley, so that's sad. But it might be a boy, I don't know. But it might not be. I don't know who that is. But I found this just then. Look, this is British TV for you. Gavin and Stacey. My mum, we went to Barry Island and all I got was this. My mum bought me this. Gavin and Stacey tea towel. So this is British, so this is probably, but maybe this doesn't count. They didn't mention this because it was Welshy. Welsh doesn't count as British as far as they're concerned. It's what basically everything they said was English. They went Downton Abbey. They went Only Fools and Horses and all that sort of stuff. And it was very English, not British at all. So, okay, fair enough. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Money. If we have to do before decimalisation money, I don't even know, because it just does my head in. Even if, the older people go, this is how many pounds are in a pence is in a pound, and you go, no. There's 100 pence in a pound. That's sensible. There's a sort of weird, I don't know how much it is. Well, I just got this because it was funny. Not because Gavin and Stacey is funny, because it's funny getting a tea towel from Barry Island that's got Gavin and Stacey on it. That was an amusement. I don't know what was amusing. It's just like, it's ironic. And that's the only way that you can really enjoy British TV with British things, is being ironic. Because although, yes, you can export it to other places, but will you really want it unless it's accessible? I mean, Downton Abbey's not really a realistic portrayal of British life. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, because everybody's, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, no, and it reminded me of that Horrible Histories song about British things, where Queen Victoria and her servants sing about, oh, cups of tea, not British. Oh no. What about sugar? No, that's from Jamaica. What about, and somebody in the comments, it's on YouTube, a version of it, somebody in the comments went, oh, what about fish and chips? And then somebody pointed out, no, Portuguese, Sephardic Jewish, and chips tend to be, well, apparently they're from Belgium, but actually potatoes are from the Americas, so no, in no way. Oh, what about tomato ketchup? Well, tomatoes are from the Americas as well. Oh, chocolate. Cadbury's chocolate. Chocolate's from America. No, don't count. Sorry, nothing British. What can you think of that's actually British? Marmite. Marmite's actually made in the EU at the moment, so not particularly British at the moment. And, no, nothing British to be had. Sorry, so I'm not sure what sort of TV we're going to have. It's going to be a state. It's going to be a state. Flake is British, is it? Yes, but chocolate is not British, because chocolate is from the Americas originally. So, I mean, I don't know how far back you want to go, but it's not really British, is it? And it's probably not actually made in Britain anymore. Cabbage, maybe, but cabbage is sort of in a lot of different places. Cabbage, I suppose maybe cabbage. Yeah, I'll give you cabbage. I don't know. Cabbage is not specifically British, but you can grow it here, and it's been here for a while. So go on then, we'll have that. Jelly deals, yeah, jelly deals. But I think that was probably from the Romans. Probably were like, hey, jelly deals. So they probably brought their tastes over, or maybe the Scandinavians when they invaded. All of it's really probably not particularly British. And what do you mean by British? Anyway, somebody said, oh, well, English language is based on the Angles. It's like, yeah, but the Angles they didn't come here first. And, there was like a lot of Indo-Celtic tribes, and they're not actually British, because they're from like Iran and stuff, and the Middle East, and they came here like 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. Nobody was here during the Ice Age. Before the Ice Age, there were various, I mean, you like the Beaker people. No, they're from somewhere in Europe. But before the Ice Age, which was like 12,000 years ago, there wasn't anyone. Maybe before that there were cavemen, which were completely different species to us generally, because they were like pre Homo sapien cavemen that lived in Britain. And then after the Ice Age, you got all sorts of people from everywhere coming into Britain. So who is British? Nobody. None of us. Can't even, the Celts have got a good claim for being here a long time. And the Angles have been here a fair amount of time, but not that long. They came, and so did the Romans about probably the same time, to be honest. And then the Saxons, they came ages later, and the Vikings, they came ages later. Oh, talking of which, Ancestry's got a DNA update, and they've taken away even more of my stuff, but they've given my dad back some stuff. They took it all away and went, oh yeah, you're just Welsh and English to him ages ago. But now, and before that, he'd had all sorts of stuff. He had Polynesian and Russian and Spanish and North African. And I had some Native American, and he had all sorts of stuff. It was really exciting, and I had the Caucasus Mountains and all sorts. And they took it all away with one of the updates. Now, the most recent update has given me back some things and not others. Now it says that I'm mostly Welsh and a bit Scottish, with a tiny bit of England and Northern Europe, and what else? And some Germanic Europe. Ooh. And And some Scandinavian. It's given me some Scandinavian, which I never had before. It's the first time I've had some Scandinavian. My mum had Scandinavian, but they've made it into Norwegian, just Norwegian now. Like my dad, he is now more Welsh. He's just Welsh and Scottish, and he's only got 8% English and northwestern Europe now. 8%, so he's the least English of everyone. But and that's all from the Midlands, and I know where that's from. The Midlands and Gloucestershire. So one of his grandparents is from elsewhere. And then he's got loads of Scottish and Scandinavian. He got Scandinavian too, and I hadn't had that before. He hadn't had that before. He's got some Norwegian. No, Swedish. Yeah, he's got some Swedish, and my mum's got Norwegian. Anyway, my point is, probably DNA-wise, none of us. You're from India. Yeah, I think probably the Celts originally are from over in that general direction, probably even more easterly than around. So when I've got quite a high proportion of Welsh, that means Celtic. But what does Celtic mean? Celtic basically means some people that came here about 3,000 years ago from India. So that's fine. Well, I'm not from India. The Celts are from India-ish. That sort of general area. If you keep going back far enough, and they all came here. But yeah, but no, I've still got, if I put my DNA anywhere else, I've got some Native American. I don't know how. I don't know where. But it had originally given it me on Ancestry, and then they changed their algorithms. But if I upload that same DNA, and I've got 23andMe, if I upload them anywhere else, it still says Native American. And also one of the Pygmy tribes. I've got Pygmy. Because that I'm not surprised about that, because my grandparents were very short. So if I've got Mabuti, that's what it said. Mabuti, that's what DNA Land said. So basically, even though Ancestry is like, sort of British, it's not completely British, and I'm not Scottish. I suppose the Scottish, the Picts, they were here for a long time. I'm not sure where the Picts from. So maybe I've got some Pict in me. That sounds weird. Yeah, Pictish. Not the same as Pixies. But yeah, I just found this on the floor too. That's my mask that I made early on in the pandemic, and I put that thing there so that I could put some filter over it, but it doesn't work. It just looks stupid. It didn't work. I tried. Which half? Which half of what? Which half of... You're talking of... Are you talking to Terry? Sorry, I thought you were talking to me. Nobody's talking to me. Nobody ever talks to me. They talk to each other. Anyway, British. What does it mean? Nothing. Nothing at all. So I don't know why, because it was like Channel 4, ITV and BBC that they want to make just British stuff. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by just British stuff, and whether some of the stuff that has been made that I would say was British stuff qualifies in their eyes, because one of the specific things that they said was sex education, which is on Netflix, not even a public broadcaster. They criticised that because even though it was made in Wales, it's not set in Wales. Well, it's got sort of American high school vibes. It's a sort of never was sort of time. I think it's probably set in the same sort of universe as what are those things called? Oh, sorry, I've got this hot shoe thing. They are just pandering to the Little Englanders, and I don't like that. That's bad, because I know that sex education is filmed in what used to be Killeen College. I've got a video about Killeen if you want to go and see it, but I haven't got anything about Killeen College. But that's where they used to. I know a few people that studied there, and because it was like the art college, and that's what it is. That little school that they've got in there, that was the art college. And I think my cousin studied there. He did animation there, and a friend of mine. So that's really interesting. It's like, oh, that's good. Thank you, Mike. And my hot shoe's falling apart while I'm doing this. Ooh, hot shoe shuffle. That was the thing with Bonnie Langford and Wayne Sleep. Do you remember that back in the day? I don't know. I never saw it because it sounded like rubbish. But basically they were dancing. They did all dancing I was like, oh, I wasn't really a dance fan. I like singing and comedy, but I wasn't really a dance fan. I quite like dance now, but I wasn't back in the day. I liked the thought of ballet, but not actually watching it. I tried to watch a ballet once on TV, and I was like, oh, look at me, get me watching ballet on TV. But it wasn't, I think I probably watched a couple of operas too. When back in the day, when they did show them on BBC Two, but that, culture-wise, is probably not British enough for the public broadcasters these days, so you probably couldn't, you probably wouldn't put ballet and culture and stuff like that, because that's all foreign, innit? Ooh, all that opera and that ballet from elsewhere. Tchaikovsky, oh, he's not British, is he? Oh, no. So I think it's a mistake to just focus on British stuff, because why? Let's be all multinational and have all there is to offer from the world. If we didn't have everything from the world, then what would we have? We would have nothing. Sky Arts has that stuff, does it? Oh yeah, but you have to pay for Sky Arts. See, that's not a public broadcaster. Sky Arts can do what they want, because they're a subscription thing. You pay to see that, so you can get away with doing what you want if you're a paid broad. So the British things are going to be... That's it. See, Netflix is not public broadcasting, so I don't know why that was the thing that they focused their ire on. It's because it's all that, people having it off and stuff. It's free. Sky Arts is free, is it? I think maybe it is if you've got free. Is it free on review? It's still, all right, fair enough, but it's still not a public broadcaster. That it's part of, it's probably paid for by the people that do pay for the main Sky. Probably. I don't have Freeview because the only TV that I tend to watch is on catch-up service or things like Netflix and also Amazon. See, that's another thing, right? I saw everybody's talking about Jamie on Amazon, which is part funded by Film 4, which is one of the public broadcasters that is going to be focused on. It's like, is that British enough for them? Because it's set in Britain, it's completely British, it's a British story, but that probably wouldn't count as being a British story to them, because obviously it's about a gay boy that wants to be a drag queen, and he probably isn't in there. That's not British though, that's not British values. See, this is the very nebulous British values. What do you mean by British values? Now in everybody's talking about Jamie, there was a lot of careers advice in that, and they were like, the Sharon Horgan was like the careers teacher, and telling Jamie and all the other people, you have to do this, you have to manage your dreams. So that reminded me of my school days when they used to do careers advice. I mean, I was talking to my housemate. He said that they did sort of have a careers advice, which was, this is how to get into university. Now, they never had that. Never in my school. They did have careers advice all the way through, and we would have like little ticky boxes, and this would tell you what to do. I never can remember at all in that part of my school. They didn't have a sixth form in my school. You had to go to like a tertiary college if you wanted to do A levels or stuff like that. But it wasn't a very ambitious school, I don't think. They just wanted to get people through and out of it. But they did have careers advice. But the careers advice was very rudimentary. I tell you, as a school, it was a bit of a sort of weird hodgepodge of a school, because I did Latin, because the Latin teacher I've said this before, I did Latin, but it wasn't really a high achieving school, so that's like, So it's not that they obviously wanted to get you through their exams, but they didn't really go, and then you can go to university and stuff like that. I can't remember ever talking about university, but in the careers advice, they had this thing, and I looked it up, because I was like, I remember we used to have this thing, and it was the careers teaching was in the same room as the Latin, but they would switch it around, and we had this little video about a mastic asphalt spreader, and I'm like, what was that? Apparently there was like a little character called Neville Sponge. I've looked it up, and you can go, if you go to Kew Gardens, you can go and see it in the, they've got like a load of old videos and stuff you can go see, but I can't find it online anyway. But apparently he was called Neville Sponge, and he said he went to his careers teacher in this little animation going, I want to be a brain surgeon. And the careers teacher was like, well, Neville, that's not practical. Why don't you look at this careers advice? And he's like, well, I'm going to be a mastic asphalt spreader. And we're like, yeah. I think I vaguely remember telling my parents about it at the time, and they were outraged that this is the sort of careers advice that was being given, that you should just downplay any ambition you had. Nah, you're going to be, no way can you be any sort of professional or anything that's like useful. Don't have ambition. You should be a mastic asphalt spreader. And actually we had a careers advice evening. I remember that. This is just coming back to me now. And I remember going to it and I said I wanted to be an actress or an artist. My dad was an art teacher. My dad always wanted to do art, so I wanted to be something like that. An actress or an artist. And they're like, nah, you shouldn't be that. And what did they say? You should be a social worker. That's what they said. I remember that now. Nah, why don't you be a social worker? I suppose that's an ambition. But it's like, nah, there's no way that you'll be any of those things. I mean, maybe they were right. But maybe if I'd pursued my dreams, I could have been anything by now. But it was squashed. And so having squashed my dreams, and I asked other people as they were coming out, and other people that were equally as talented as me, talented people that were, thinking of the future. I would like to be this amazing thing. No, they told all them to be social workers too. We were the brighter kids. The other kids, I think they were just telling them. There was a place called Lucas Girling, which I think, looking it up, I didn't know what it did, but I know that loads of people's dads used to work there. It's like, ooh, he's got a good job at Lucas Girling's. Apparently it was car parts. I didn't know that at the time. And Saunders Valve was like, I didn't know what that was, but that was apparently valves for cars as well. And I don't know whether they're still there, but that was, if you were clever, you might go to Saunders Valve. If you weren't, you would go to the chicken factory. And that was actually more of a threat than anything. It's like, you'll never be anything, but you should go and work at the... But it wasn't really, because it was like, yes, you work at the chicken factory. That's probably the best job you're going to get. I think there might have been a plastics factory there too. There used to be steelworks. That all went. And the mines went as well. There's no mine. The mines has gone. No, there's no mines anymore. So all the industry had gone. So basically, the careers advice was like, don't have any dreams. You're never going to make it. Just especially don't do anything arty. Oh, no. Be a mastic asphalt spreader like Neville Sponge. That's what you should do. And I think that's probably what we're going back to. Don't have ambitions. Watch British TV and eat British stuff. But there won't be much of it because there's very big shortages coming because of various things. Not just one thing. But it's an awful lot to do with insisting on being British, I think, has probably backfired quite badly on us. Because there's other things like fuel has gone up and there's a shortage of drivers because of the global situation and stuff. And there's very much a lot going on. But I think also insisting on Britishness has topped it off. The icing on the cake. Exactly. Dreams are for the rich and powerful. Don't have a dream. It's just, I do have a dream because really, you may as well. You probably are running out of chips. No chips. That's it. I'm looking. It's like, I'll try to order some potatoes. No, they're all out of stock. Oh, what about chips? No, they're all out of stock. Oh, well, because they're made of potatoes. Of course they are. Oh, and somebody said that they tried to get sardines in a can. And I tried to get them for my parents as well. They're fond of sardines. And they used to be like 47p for some sardines. But they're not in stock anymore anywhere. So you have to spend £1.50 on the sardines. And then you order those and they're not in stock either. And fresh tuna and fresh fish. Fresh tuna. Ooh, that's middle class for you. No, people do eat things like that. All the fishes are out of stock. But I have noticed that all the traditional fish that you usually buy is out of stock. Now, I'm not buying it for this, but I was sort of looking because I was doing the shopping for my mum. And all the traditional fish is out of stock, but all the the fancy schmancy fish that people haven't been eating is sort of suddenly in stock. It's like, I mean, hake, probably not fancy schmancy, but hake. Hake is not a fish that is usually seen, but that is there instead of your cod. Cod has been on the wane for a while, but hake, okay. And bassa, that is a fish from, that's actually catfish. So we might have some catfish and hake, but not of the traditional food and fishes that you usually have, because you basically get what nobody else can, what they can't export anymore because of various reasons. It's like, we would have given this to other people that like this, but now we're going to have to buy it, which is fine because there's nothing wrong with it. There was never anything wrong with it. So I suppose that's all right, but people aren't used to it. They're like, what's this thing? I don't want it. Oh, this foreign muck. And it's like, well, no, it's nice. It's delicious. What's wrong with you? See, that I haven't noticed any food shortages for me. I have when I've ordered it, my mum's food. It's like, oh, this is all out of stock. But the sort of food that I like is all fancy, schmancy, high-end, stupid stuff that, you know, is still available because not that many people know about it. I'm like, oh, gluten-free, oh, dairy-free, that's still there because it's just me who wants it, really. I mean, it's on the rise. More people want it, but not as many people as want all the traditional British stuff. So I'm going to sort of benefit from not wanting the traditional British traditional food. I want this fancy schmancy thing. I'm going to have some, there's like a Norwegian cheese that's a sort of sweet. I think it's made of goat's milk and sheep's milk, and it's sweet. It's called Gay Toast, which I think is hilarious. I think Brun Toast is also another version that you can get that's made with cow's milk, but I don't really like cow's milk. Gay Toast. So that's what I'm going to get from now on. I did actually try buying that. You can't get that in the supermarket. Something I noticed that wasn't available for a while. I thought, I mean, even though I don't tend to eat gluten because it makes my fingers numb, every now and then I go, I don't care, I'm going to eat some nice bread. And I went looking because I remember having some Irish soda files at one point, and I was like, oh, they were nice. They were quite nice, and I think I'm going to have those. I'm going to spread them with yummy fat and eat them, yum, yum, yum. But I looked everywhere. In the whole of the country, there are no Irish soda files to be had. I wonder why. No Irish products at all. No soda files. Because of... Yeah, so they're out of stock. I looked at about 6 or 7 different online supermarkets. Numfingers are not probably not a symptom of gluten intolerance, but I think I've got more of a sort of allergy or something. I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, I had my DNA tested, as I said, and that did say that I've got one of the genes that would cause probable gluten intolerance, and it doesn't make me feel very good. Other things happen when I eat gluten, but the main thing is almost immediately my fingers go numb and I go, oh no, I wish I hadn't done that. And I'm like, ow. So I don't know whether that is a gluten intolerance thing, but that's what happens to me when I eat wheat thing. I saw an online video about somebody that was breathalyzed, and they had really high levels of alcohol and they hadn't really been drinking, and it turns out they've got a thing which turns the bread starch into alcohol in their blood. So they had a high alcohol tolerance because they had been eating loads of bread, and it turns into alcohol in their body, and they managed to get off a drink driving charge because of that. Now, thinking about that, when I have bread, I do act very strangely. I had bread today. I had rye bread. Polish rye bread that I bought on the way home, and that made my fingers very numb indeed. And I'm also really like, yeah, la 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 la, bouncing off the ceilings because of Polish bread. Another thing with rye bread is that you have to be worried about is the ergot poisoning. I don't know whether it's ergo or ergo. I think, therefore I am. Ergo or ergot poisoning, but it's the same thing that caused, if you've seen the Ken Russell film, the Devils, with Vanessa Redgrave's got like, she's a nun that's got like a funny neck, and when she eats the rye bread that's gone off, she's like, now I'm beautiful and I'm dancing about. In her dream she's still the same nun, but she's like, la la la, and going around being flirty and all sorts of stuff happening. So yes, maybe I do because even when I'm eating other carbs, like gluten-free carbs, if I turn any carbs into it, that could explain an awful lot. And I'm thinking about that. It's like, oh, yes, because I barely ever drink, and I am usually like, yeah, la, 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 la. So that could be a sign of something. You're right. Mm-hmm. So, interesting. But gluten-y food, I'm like, yum, yum, yum. If I can get away with one slice, it's like, but one slice is never enough. So I have 2 slices, and then I'm like, But that's fine, because if you keep eating it, it's like, I don't care if the whole of my body's numb, then it's all the same, la la la. Cool. It could be Ergo, it could be, How Did I See the Devils? It's a film that is available. I've seen it many years ago. I can't remember when. I've also got the book, which is, I think, by the same person that wrote Brave New World. Whoever it was. Oh, I've gone blank. The Brave New World writer. Who wrote Brave New World? Started for 10. Yes, him. Anyway, he wrote the Devils of something. Yeah. Freshly baked bread. Aldous Huxley, that's him. Aldous Huxley. La la la. Aldous Huxley. Aldous Huxley wrote the thing about, he was the person that wrote the book on which The Devils is based, which is based on a real thing that happened probably in the 14th century or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Aldous Huxley. Yes, I know. As soon as somebody said Aldous, I was like, Aldous Huxley. I know. I remember now. I went blank, probably because I've been eating the rye bread. I've got ergo poisoning. I haven't. Don't joke about something like that. Oh, it's a serious thing. I think it causes the same sort of thing that looks like leprosy. I think. That's something else I found about. I was reading a book about remarkable boys that did remarkable things, and one of them was Baldwin the Fourth or Baldwin the Sixth. Either one of those, who at 13 became the king of Jerusalem because his dad died, but had leprosy and went into battle in full armour because his fingers were falling off and his eyes were all sort of like bloated because he had leprosy. But I'm thinking maybe if somebody went on in full armour and they were like, oh, I'm surprised at how brave and well he fought. If he's wearing full armour though, it would be very easy, I think, to put in a ringer. And so maybe Baldwin the Sixth or Fourth, whatever he was, didn't really go into battle. I don't want to cast aspersions, but maybe it was just somebody else that was pretending to be him so that he could just have a little lie in bed. Because if he was too ill to even move out of bed, and then he suddenly excelled in battle, that seems a little bit unlikely to me. Those other people in this book, they had Alan Turing. Is that his name? Yes, it is. It's like I suddenly had a picture of the Turing Shroud, and that's not how you spell it. It's like, what the? And they had other people in there, various people, lots of people. But that was Baldwin the whatever. Somehow, because I've been playing this little online game where you've got little clone armies, and there's like little clones that look like people, famous figures from history, but not quite. They haven't got and one of them is Baldwin, and I was like, shall I make Baldwin? I've got all the pieces for him, because he's got leprosy, so he's in many different pieces. No, you have to collect the pieces, and then you can make these people. And I was like, shall I make him? And I was like, oh, is that who he is? Suddenly, that's it. Could you make chicken to make beer? I don't think so. I don't think there's many carbs in chicken. It's not that. It's protein and fat mainly, isn't it? I could be wrong, but you could make beer out of bread. Yeah, you could definitely ferment bread. So I don't see, yeah, that's why it can ferment in your body, because it can ferment anyway. Ah, and also, I had got some goat's cheese, and I tried to buy the hard, this is one of the things that was out of stock. I wanted to buy some hard goat's cheese, and I ordered it on my online shopping, and instead they sent me some posh, fancy, schmancy, sort of soft, like brie-like goat's cheese that smelt absolutely foul, and I had to keep wrapping it up and put it in the fridge, and I forgot to eat it, and I was like, oh, I better eat that, it's so stinky. I tried to eat it yesterday, and I think it had gone off because it was it was like so sour, so nasty. I just had to throw it away. I was like, because I could have had the option to send it back, but I'm like, alright, I'll try it then. But it was so bad. It smelled so bad anyway. But I had a little taste when I first got it. It was like, not great, but alright. It's quite bitter. But this was just like really, so nasty. So, I can't remember what it was called. I threw it away. Yeah. But that was not British. Anyway, I've been talking for 40 minutes about absolute nonsense, and I'd said I was going to watch something British on the TV probably. So I'm going to go and watch something British on my TV now. Yeah, something like, I don't know. Yeah, something. I can't even think of anything British that I would want to watch. Alright, well, I'll see you now. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Bye.